equally as important, we have women who are a measure older, and you know what they are? They're full of wisdom. They're full of knowledge.
Life experiences, yeah.
They
They've
are
been
a
through it.
treasure trove of nurture and care and comfort for the people around them if they can just learn to thrive in an uncertain space.
Yeah.
That's my girl right there.
Thanks for being here with me today, Julie, and for everything you're doing behind the scenes for Spartan Woman Lessons. This whole process has been a labor of love, and I'm excited to discuss the women that we really want to help and our vision for that.
Well, first of all, the whole thing is nothing but a blessing, and I'm honored to be part of it. And I think this is a really great place for us to start talking about the demographic that we want to reach. And I've done a lot of thinking about this, and I know you have as well. And in particular, we're talking to women, right?
Right.
But within that demographic, there's so many subsets of, and I guess I'm thinking of it mostly by age.
Right.
So, well, let me start by asking you what is your target audience?
So it's going to depend on which of our services. So the online lessons platform in particular, I had always thought would be good to get to younger women, and I think I've stated such in interviews that I've done in the recent months about wanting to reach young women so that I can prevent them some of the heartache that I've gone through.
Yeah.
And if we can connect them with other young women who are on a similar trajectory to wanting a kind of lifestyle that they can be supportive of one another. And then when you and I spoke about that, the things that you said to me really gave me pause and made me sort of reconsider what I had thought about as our key demographic. And I've changed completely. Not that I'm not interested in dealing with young women, but I'd like you to share what you were telling me.
Yeah, so I first of all, I want to start by saying that I stand solidly on a structure that is for teaching people a better way. And in this case, with Spartan Woman Lessons, we're directly talking to women. That is our focus.
That's our focus.
And you just talked about, reaching young women, and I think that is so important. And I teach young people, and I know how important it is, and I am for that 1,000%. So to answer your question, I want to preface it by saying there's not one group that I find more important than another group. It's not like that at all. It's just simply an observation that I have had. Now, I am 59 years old. I've been around a while. I've been teaching for over 3 decades in one way or another. You and I have been working on Spartan Woman Lessons for several months, but I've done the training with you several times, and we've known each other, about 7, 8 years, something like that.
And you've done all of Tom's training as well.
I have done Tom's training as
to
well.
include the 24-hour challenge, which is a serious thing for somebody to take on.
That was life-changing. That was incredible. So I want to answer your question by telling you about an observation that I had one time.
Sure.
So I was it was actually a church that I had attended, and it was a very large church, and I loved the church. I loved the people there. And one of the ladies who was very influential in that church, she had a heart for younger women. And there was a program where we did little breakout groups, and she would purposefully, in each group, she would have people of different ages, and the intent was for the women who were older to mentor the younger women, which I thought was amazing, and I supported that 1,000%, and I did participate in that. Now, it didn't mean that you had to be like 80 or 90 years old to be considered a mentor. If the group you were in and you were 39 or 40 and you were the oldest one in the group, then you were sort of the mentor. So I found that to be incredibly important to pour back into people, especially the ones who were wanting that, right? we weren't targeting people who didn't want to hear what you had to say. It's just,
Yeah,
I'm
it's
here for
definitely
you.
one of the things that we've learned is you can't coach and train and mentor people who aren't interested.
No, it just doesn't work like that. They have to be.
They have to be hungry for self improvement. They
And
really do.
just like I was talking to my son earlier, people have to be teachable.
Yeah.
They have to be teachable. They have to want it. So in this group, I loved it. I don't have a negative thing to say about it. It was absolutely phenomenal, and I learned so much, and I loved my time doing that. But I made an observation, and then a few years later, I actually lived this observation, and this has changed my heart. This is where my heart is. Okay, so let's say that you reach a stage in life where you have some decades behind you, and life has been a certain way, and then it changes for whatever reason, whatever set of circumstances causes the change, whether you were blindsided by something, whether something happened that you had no control over, or maybe you're the one who caused the change. However it happened doesn't matter. What I'm talking about is you live your life in a certain way, and all of a sudden your circumstances are different.
Right.
How do you navigate? How do you thrive in that space? And I know in that scenario that I was telling you about the older women mentoring the younger women, in that church, and especially in one of the groups that I was in, there were two ladies actually who I thought the world of, and they sort of hung back. They were nice, they were pleasant, they were sweet as could be, but they never were very vocal about their mentoring. And the more I got to know them, it was because they were both sort of in this situation where their life had changed and they needed a mentor.
They needed the mentoring.
Yes.
Yes.
They both said, I can't give something I don't have.
Yeah. They needed it.
Yes.
And there wasn't anybody to give it.
Yeah. And I thought, wow. And then, it's one thing to see that and observe it in somebody else, and it's another thing to go through it yourself. And I know that there are so many women who have experienced things just like I have, where you really sort of have to get your footing again. And before you can get your footing again, you have to have the ability to be strong, even when the ground beneath you is not.
Right. It's interesting. Your perspective has to do with your experience in life with being in the throes of one of these scenarios as a woman who had decades of a lifestyle that was a certain way and then a lot of change. Mm-hmm. And I'm on the flip side of that coin, where I had 2 early failed marriages. Thankfully, I didn't have any children with either of those men, but I just couldn't get it right when it came to relationships. And perhaps that's why it's in my heart to try to keep women from making the mistakes I did, and why it's in your heart to help women who are, for whatever reason, they're in a position that they never imagined they would be. And then how do you, in both of those instances of those kind of women, then how are we equipped then to deal with the life we have to face every day, and then the next set of things that we want to pursue for our lives because for some reason or another things didn't work out, or we haven't even gotten to that point yet? And let's help to provide some training and some prevention for things going south. Those are all phenomenal scenarios in which we can be incredibly beneficial to the women that we're working with.
And I love that, in our conversations, we have some pretty powerful conversations, and I love that we see the same things, and yet we can see things from a different perspective. And like I was saying before, these demographics are equally important. If we can talk to young women before they, make some of the mistakes that we made, then they can pour into their families in a different way and into their lives in a different way and show up strong in that space. At the same time, equally as important, we have women who are a measure older, and you know what they are? They're full of wisdom. They're full of knowledge.
Life experiences, yeah.
They are a treasure trove of nurture and care and comfort for the people around them if they can just learn to thrive in an uncertain space.
Yeah.
That's my girl right there.
Yeah. Well, I'm so excited about Spartan Woman lessons about connecting with all of the women, no matter their age or background or demographics, no matter where they come from, what sort of tale they have to share with us. And what I'm really looking to do is embrace them, mentor them, love on them, and show them what they're capable of.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much. It's been great to sit down and chat with you. I have a feeling there will be many more to come.
Always a pleasure.